And there we are with the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It's only 2 more race weekends and 2025 season is already over. So let's really enjoy this one. And it's a huge festival going on here in Le Mans, France. It's the English Championship, it's the French Championship and the European Championship happening all together under the slogan 24 heures, camion 24 hours, trucks all over Le Mans. There's a huge firework happening tonight. There are bands playing, so many fans. It's packed over there in the starting line. You will see in a second. So it's really, really amazing to be here. I'm very thankful. I was invited to do this hosting again and to be the one who is allowed to share the race world with you for this weekend. Look around, look at all these people. I mean, France, they really love the truck racing world and they have their own championship. So we also will have a guest in this race today talking about Jonathan Andre. But before heading over to Le Mans and to whatever is going on, of course, we have the highlights from last weekend in Zolder, Belgium. And of course, we have Chess Draycott in the house, our lovely commentator. See you in a second. Vive la France, no?
Thank you very much, Lena. Yes, hello everybody. Chaz Draycott here for the next round of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And these are the wonderful shots from a great weekend at Zolder in Belgium just last week. It's not often that we have back-to-backs with Le Mans and Zolder, but two brilliant circuits that provide plenty of racing action. And as we saw in the first race of the weekend, Norbert Kish taking victory over Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn, Sascha's best result of the season. The reverse grid races were certainly enticing as well, with loads going on throughout the field. René Reinert there overtaking Clemens Hecker, who shot up to the top of the Chrome Championship on the Saturday. It was good to see Stefan Kirsch back on track, and he was struggling, unfortunately, with his number 33 machine. A great battle was erupting with Norbert Kish, Steffi Halm, and, of course, Antonio Albacete. But at the end of the race, unfortunately, this contact, which would include 5-second penalties for both drivers, would put them further down the order and bring out the red flag. It certainly flared tempers towards the end of the day. Antonio Albacete perfectly fine, but unable to continue for that race. We returned on the Sunday morning, everybody back with a full grid once again, even Stefan Faas back out on circuit in his Freightliner, and Norbert Kish would take another race 1 victory to continue his fantastic tally of the race wins this season. Jochen Hahn would take a 2nd place finish, but it was Antonio Albacete that would complete the podium in the 3rd race of the weekend. He'll be much happier than he was on the Saturday. The 4th and final race of the weekend had Luke Garrett and René Reinert on the front row of the grid. Luke had a fantastic weekend in Chrome, taking his first ever overall victory, and Norbert Kish was once again pushed into fighting through the order and recuperating the positions from starting 8th on the grid. Even with the damage to the front end of the truck, he was unsung and making places. Down the inside of Steffi Halm into Boulderberg box, he moved up into 3rd place, but didn't have enough time to catch back up to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and his teammate René Reinert, who took his 2nd race victory of the season. René very, very pleased with that one after taking a win earlier in the year at the Lausitzring in Germany during a very interesting race meeting that we had there with the DTM on the calendar. Here you see the trucks making their way down the pit lane now towards the grid. No qualifying broadcasts this weekend. It's a very tightly packed weekend, as Lena has rightly mentioned. We have the French Championship here this weekend, the British Championship as well, and obviously the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. There's the T-Sport Burnout squad. Tim Frost ready and waiting for Antonio's efforts in this race here this afternoon. We have a fantastic amount of crowd here. As you can see, a humongous amount of people flood down the start-finish straight. This is how qualifying finished then. It's Norbert Kish who will start on pole position with Sascha Lenz alongside him. Jochen Hahn will start from 3rd position in this one. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in 4th. Antonio Albacete will start in 5th, but Bradley Smith having a fantastic qualifying to finish in the top 6. He starts ahead of championship leader Mark Taylor. Clemens Hecker and Louis Requenco next up, with Stefan Kirsch making it into the top 10 for a great qualifying from him. Simon Reed, the first of the two Reed brothers, joining us this weekend. Steffi Halm starting in 12th place after not the best qualifying from her. Craig Reed and John Newell make up the next row of the grid on the 7th row. And then Christian Ruppert was the last driver to set a time. René Reinert will start in 16th place, with Luke Garrett 17th and Stefan Faas in 18th, hopefully. They've done an engine change on Stefan Faas's truck just recently, so we're not sure if that machine will be out on the circuit and taking part in this race. We've got the two Reeds with us this weekend, though. Craig and Simon Reed, two drivers that have raced for many years in the British Championship, and funnily enough, only live a couple of miles from me, actually, back in the UK. They live in Staffordshire, and they have their business here, and it's lovely to see them. We saw them joining us and sharing the circuit with us at Zolder, and they were all, of course, running on similar fuels with us, these 100% renewable HVO shark fins, adorning all the trucks in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And we are displaying this wonderful Total Energies shark fin on all of the trucks. Let's head down to Lena, shall we, and see where she's up to on the grid. Looks like quite a busy grid down there today.
Yeah, and this race is not going to be exciting because of what's going on in the Titan class, talking about Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kisch, of course, fighting for the 7th title in the European Championship. Also in Chrome class, it's so tight. We have Mark Taylor, who really had a year. He has been fighting through so much. He had bad days, he had really, really good days, and he is leading with points in Chrome class right now. We also have Clemens Hecker. There he is. Yeah, it's the best view ever that we chose for now. Same thing, but he really very steadily became better and better. So he's just behind Mark Taylor, sharing points with Bradley Smith, who happens to be in front of them. So this group here really will have a fight going on once the race is starting. Like, mark my words, you will see a lot of action going on over here. So I can't wait to see these ones fighting. Back to you, Chess.
Yeah, rightly pointed out, Lena, the Chrome Championship fight so far this season has been absolutely wonderful. We've got just 20 points between the top 4 drivers. Mark Taylor, after a good time at Zolder with 4 podiums and 2 race victories in class, has now leapfrogged the likes of Clemens Hecker, Bradley Smith and John Newell to get back up to the top of the championship. But seems like Bradley Smith has gotten back on song and back on form here, with 6th place on the grid after that qualifying session. There's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, is seen one of the Goodyear guys there, I believe. The number 22 driver in the French series. I think it's one of the Sousa brothers, either Jose or Rafael Sousa, that both race in the Goodyear Freightliners. Lovely to see we've got the Freightliner back on grid this season with Stefan Faas behind the wheel, but unfortunately reliability issues have been really hampering their progress throughout the championship. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez took a pretty solid set of results away from Zolder last time out. 2 second-place finishes overall. He'll be pleased with that and hoping to improve on it once again this time round. But as mentioned, in the Chrome class, it's Mark Taylor on top. Clemens Hecker and Bradley Smith are 12 points back, but tied on points. And then John Newell is only another 8 points behind them. So the whole top 4 could be in a fight for the championship. At the very top, though, obviously we have this man, Norbert Kirsch. He leads the overall championship and in the Titan class by 77 points. And this weekend could become a 7-time champion. You can see they've got the Anglais Mort sticker on the truck in a bit of humour on the front end there after the contact last week. But I tell you, this man could be about to make history here this weekend at the lovely Le Mans Bugatti circuit. He won the championship here last year as well. And, well, the team have done another epic job this time round to build him this amazing truck, and obviously for him to put in the awesome drives that we've seen. In just a moment, we're going to welcome our international TV audience from around the world, though, so we're going to go quiet and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
Welcome to the fans from all over the world and the fans of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Only 2 more race weekends, and this one is happening in Le Mans, France. It's a very historic racetrack, and the weather gods are with us. It's been raining this morning, and everyone was like, no, come on. There are so many people around, so many truck racing fans, so much going on. We will let you know in a second. So we were like, come on, let's have a big celebration over here in Goodyear. One of the main sponsors also is taking the time, bringing a lot of people along, because I think this is a very special place to be also for Goodyear. And the vice president himself is taking the time. Xavier, it's very good to have you.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. For us, being at Le Mans is just fantastic because it's the famous Bugatti track, lots of history, and for Goodyear racing has always been in our DNA. It's a test bed for our innovation. That's where we do a lot of development, and just for this season we brought a brand new tire, which is more sustainable, more durable, and it's really a great experience. And the fans here is just, you said it, is just fantastic.
It's amazing. We will let you know everything. Just look up there. It's packed, and there are even more people. It's a huge traffic jam outside. People are still squeezing in, and the first race, of course, is about to happen in a couple of minutes. So as you just mentioned, it's sustainable, it's new tires, and you really did a very good job developing more and more tires for this championship. And I know so many people who have never heard of the European Championship, and once I tell them, they get hooked up and they watch every race, and they're like, wow, they have HVO, they have a story when it comes to the tires, because those race tires, they are reused for street tires later on. And I really love the thought that a normal truck driver like kind of is racing or driving with race trucks back on the streets later on.
Absolutely. We worked a lot on the content of the tires. They are made of 55% sustainable material, but on top, as you said it, we retread them. So after the race we take them back, and in fact we should activate that even more, because we could say the tire that we are selling to you was on the winning truck in Le Mans or in Nürburgring or in Zolder, and it's really something which is important for us and for the championship, and it's something which is really also in the spirit of what Goodyear means, developing sustainable mobility.
And you also did a good job developing a tire that works in sunshine and in rain, so there is no tire change happening. Of course, if it really pours and we are kind of swimming, then we have to stop the race, but till then it really worked well all the time.
Yeah, it's a kind of an all-season tire, and it was a big challenge because we had to improve the grip, and those tires need to work from when we had some of the races are really low temperatures, 7 or 8 temperature, or like today can be above 30, and we have to develop a tire which works well and also on those rainy conditions, and that's really something which took lots of work from us. And for this season we managed that, and the lap times are improved, and on top even the tires are more durable and we can drive them 30% more. So nice challenge and a good inspiration also for our road truck tires.
And you also always are to find in the fan village, so you bring your own, like for the drivers out there, you bring tires, like people can speak to you if they have questions, if they want to learn more about it. You always have a crew out there.
The Goodyear FIA TRC for us is really the place where we like to bring our customers. It's a great event, and through that we show them also our latest innovation, our latest solutions, and they can touch them, they can see them, because everything is in that truck, and we can explain to them how they can improve the total cost of ownership and really get the best out of their trucks and their fleet. And we are there as a partner, and just for this weekend we invited more than 400 guests. So it shows you how important this event, this championship is for us.
And this day might be a very historic one again, because there he is, Norbert Kisch. Look at him in the starting line in the front. Let's turn around so you can see his truck. And him and Jochen Hahn, who is right behind him, they are both fighting for the 7th time European champion. So if Norbert Kisch wins, it's super historical on a super historical racetrack. So that's very special. So let's enjoy the race together. Thank you for being here. And Chas, yes, enjoy it, enjoy the race. And Chas, straight code back to you for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. And yeah, like we say, Norby on the brink of even more history here. He became the second driver to win 6 titles and equal Jochen Hahn here last time in 2024. And we just had a quick look there at Christian Ruppert And right now, we'll look at the circuit. This is the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. Whenever I tell people we're going truck racing at Le Mans, they go, what, whole 24-hour layout? No, we have the, well, I'd say the better version. This Bugatti circuit is wonderful fun. So they have the usual Dunlop chicane at the start of the lap. We go over the crest of the hill down towards La Chapelle, a long sweeping right-hander, over another crest into a hard braking zone at Le Musée, and then Garage Vert at the bottom, which is a double apex right-hander. We see a lot of drama down there before they head down the back straight into the final sector. Chemin-au-Boeuf is a real speedy, smooth chicane. You'll see a lot of great weight transfer shots through there as the trucks go left, then right. And then the final couple of corners, I mean, they are so not clunky in these trucks, but you can see that the drivers really have to work hard to manage the weight transfer from one corner to the next, under acceleration into the braking zones, going left, then right, then double right again. It is so tough there. And as you can see with the temperatures at the moment as well, it's nice and warm there at Le Mans. The last few years that we visited Le Mans, it's been absolutely freezing when we've been racing there. We're going to have a look at the grid, though, for this qualifying session. It's the biggest grid of the field. Biggest grid of the field. Biggest field of the year that we've had so far, and we have 18 trucks on it. Norbert Kish and Sascha Lenz will line up on the front row of the grid. It's usually Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn, but Sascha has made a habit of this front row start now. He joins Norby, with Jochen Hahn and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez also having a good qualifying session. Antonio Albacete will start in 5th. Bradley Smith will start in 6th place. He's the fastest in Chrome for this one. He made it through into the final qualifying session. Mark Taylor will start 7th, looking to hold on to his championship lead in Chrome. Clemens Hecker will start from the from the 4th row with him. In 8th place, Louis Requenco 9th, and Stefan Kirsch getting into the top 10, I believe, for the first time in qualifying in this series. Simon Reed, one of the 2 Reeds joining us this weekend, with Steffi Halm on the 6th row of the grid. Steffi will definitely want more than that. I think one of her times was deleted in Q2. Craig Reed and John Newell will recuperate the battles they've had in the past, starting on the 7th row together. And we're going to go to the front of the grid, though, and speak to the man at the very sharp end, Norbert Kirsch, with Lena.
And his whole team is around. Quickly wish him good luck, because, yeah, he's collecting points again for the championship. And I think it's also a very quick word from you before I let you go into the race.
Yeah, all good so far. You know, we are on pole position, try to win the race and do the best we can.
Your team wishes you good luck. We wish you good luck. See you later on. I think he's very focused now, very concentrated, because, of course, this might be an historic race for him. We have to leave the track because it's starting right now. So, Chaz, back to you, and let's watch this race. I really, really hope it's going to be a good one.
Me too, Lena. Me too. I think this is going to be a fantastic race, this one. Le Mans is always a lovely circuit to go racing at. And like I've said, this Bugatti circuit, often one of the most exciting races of the year. And it's always the way when we've got Zolder and Le Mans towards the end of the season. Obviously, it's later on in the championship, so the points gaps are smaller. It's very, very nippy around this part of the circuit, you know, and it's part of the season as well. You really have to be, well, have your wits about you in the final stages of the year. And this is where drivers are starting to do the maths a little bit more and figure out how many points they've got in their back pocket before it gets to crunch time. We've got the Ford F-Max briefly on screen here. May Fisher driving the F-Max around the circuit for its inspection lap. It's the official truck of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It's great to have it once again this season, this lovely bright orange machine, part of our paddock for the whole season, and May taking it into the paddock now, into the pit lane. And we will prepare for this race. Certainly excited to see how the weekend starts here at Le Mans. We had 16 trucks back at Zolder. We had 17 earlier on this season at the Nürburgring. But now we have our biggest field of the year with Craig Reed and Simon Reed joining us for this round. We also have... We should have had Jonathan Andre joining us, I believe, but I think he's racing with the French Championship this weekend. As we said, 3 different series here for this one, so many trucks in the paddock. It's absolutely rammed. Final checks done by those on the pit wall. And the green flag is waved at the front for the trucks to make their way away from the grid. It seems like René Reinert, Luke Garrett and Stefan Fast did not go out in qualifying. They've had stewards' decisions basically permit them to start at the back of the grid in this race. But I don't think Stefan Fast is there. I'll confirm that when they all make their way around, but it's a real shame not to have Stefan on the circuit. René Reinert, I think, has had some sort of issues because he was also not out in... Actually, no, Q3 he wasn't out at all either. So, yeah, some problems there for René Reinert. But here we go. The formation lap begins for the first race of the weekend here. Seems strange to be starting with a race broadcast and not qualifying, and it be this late on in the afternoon as well. It's absolutely nuts, but it's part of this weekend, you know. It's a very busy weekend on the calendar for not just our championship, but the others involved as well. And we hope for a nice, tidy, clean race to start our weekend off. Norbert Kish will want to put one hand on the trophy with this one. He is 77 points clear at present, and there is 120 left on the board to grab. Norbert Kish on pole, then Sascha Lenz alongside him on the front row. Sascha was second on the grid back at Zolder, and he'll want to get another second place finish here as well. Jochen Hahn next up with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez alongside him. Jose Eduardo having another great qualifying. Antonio Albacete starting fifth. He'll want to move forward from there, I imagine, with Bradley Smith hoping to just hold on to the lead in Chrome. Bradley wasn't very well at Zolder last week, so I hope he's feeling a lot better now. He's got Mark Taylor and Clemens Hecker starting on the fourth row of the grid just behind him. Those two will certainly be hoping to pick up some points, especially in the first race of the day. Louis Requenco next up in 9th place with Stefan Kirsch starting in 10th position. I'm excited to see how those two get on together. Those two will have a really good fight. Simon Reed is 11th with Steffi Halm alongside the two Ivecos. Funnily enough, I think it's Simon's truck that was an ex-Steffi Halm Iveco, if I'm sure. Craig Reed had a difficult weekend at Zolder last time in the Dutch Truck Racing Championship with the truck absolutely shredding its gearboxes. I think they went through 2 gearboxes in one day. He's alongside John Newell. With Christian Ruppert back from illness. Great to see Christian back on the grid. We hope he's feeling much better. René Reinert will be, well, he'll be hoping to feel better after this race, starting down in 16th place. Luke Garrett, I think, again with reliability problems, and same with Stefan Fast. Seems like those two drivers and their teams have just had endless reliability issues, and they'll be hoping for a clean run through the weekend. It looks like Stefan Fast, after the engine change, is not back out on the circuit, so it looks like we'll have the 17 trucks for this race. Luke Garrett in the mix. So the field heads down towards the right-hander into the final section. They'll go through another sweeping left before they get to Accordement, which is the last double apex right-hander. The white stripes that you see at the bottom of the screen there is the famous huge Le Mans writing that goes across the infield of the Ford chicanes, making up a huge chunk of the 24-hour layout of the circuit. Turbochargers whistle away as the field make their way around the final corner. And round 25 in the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is underway now, and it's Norbert Kish and Sascha Lenz battling it out on the front row of the grid. Sascha is down the inside into turn 1, as he so often will be. It's the outside line on the front row of the grid for the pole sitter here, but that's because this left-hander is more important than the right-hander, and Norbert Kish will lead us through it for the very first time. Looks like Mark Taylor's had a good start. Antonio Albacete has gone a little bit wide. Bradley Smith has had to cut the chicane on the right-hand side as well. Looks like Clemens Hecker was in the middle of that too. I think they might have been 3 wide as they head towards the long right-hander. Bradley Smith trying not to go way down the inside of Clemens Hecker. Whoa, big contact. Clemens Hecker and Mark Taylor having a right old smack. I think there was contact between Taylor and Albacete as well, which put Antonio way out wide. Louis Requenco is off on the gravel. Luke Garrett was having a bit of a wobble in there as well. Pieces flying, I think, from the front of Steffi Halm's truck. There was some piece of bodywork somewhere in there. The Reeds are 3 wide with Louis Requenco in another Iveco as well. God, that was a busy couple of corners, but they somehow managed to all stay on the road. It was Bradley Smith's bodywork that has come off. He's held on to 6th place, but it's Kish, Lenz, Hahn, Rodriguez, and even then there's more dramas. Clemens Hecker straight on. What has happened there? Is the steering gone? I think the steering's gone. It won't turn. It wouldn't stop either. Oh, more reliability issues for Clemens Hecker. He had problems on Sunday at Zolder with his brakes, and he's gone straight on into the gravel. I would not be surprised if they bring a red flag out for that, you know. There's Steffi Halm giving a bit of a reminding nudge to Mark Taylor to say you're not coming through. But I will not be surprised if that's a red flag, you know, with Clemens off in such a dangerous position there. He's straight on at Garagevet. Huge shame to see that, but there was multiple bits of contact in the midfield, and he had a massive old whack into the side of Mark Taylor through the long right down the hill. Bradley Smith holds on to the lead in chrome. Steffi Halm's had a good start. She started 12th on the grid. She's up into 7th. A fantastic first lap from Steffi. Love to see the onboard from that. Everybody just glancing the penalty markers out of the final corner. And it's Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, the top three. Then it's Rodriguez. New windscreen on that truck. The numbers change position. Albacete next ahead of Bradley Smith, then Steffi Halm. Mark Taylor with John Newell and René Reinert just behind. René started down in 16th position on the grid, and he's up into the top 10 already. An important position for all of them is to try and get into 8th place, because that's the reverse grid pole position. But whoa, John Newell, big slide out of the chicane there. Really hung the back end out. But it was down into this long right-hander that the trouble all started. I don't know if Bradley Smith and Antonio Albacete got together, but it was Antonio that went out really, really far wide, and then everybody had a bit of contact and sort of all floated wide in one big group. And then I think Clemens Hecker went in a little bit hot, hit the side of Mark Taylor. It seems fine. Mark's able to continue, but maybe that's what damaged Clemens' truck. And yeah, he's gone straight on down here into Garage Vert. It should be covered by, yeah, there's yellow flags on the outside there. So unfortunately for us, one of the key overtaking opportunities on the track has been taken away. But a very busy start to the race here at Le Mans in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Norbert Kish, you can see that warning sign on the front of the truck glowing yellow. Very good sense of humour from Revesh Racing. Steffi has had a great start to this race though, moving up into 7th position already. That'll be the front row of the grid for race 2 if she finishes there, but to be honest, it looks like she's not content with finishing the race there, trying to get past Bradley Smith. Goes down the inside actually into the final sector. The two Ivecos door to door through the right-hander. I wonder if Steffi got the move done. Yes, Bradley Smith says, I'm all right, thanks. I'm not going to have that fight. He just wants to try and gain some points back in the Chrome Championship, and this is a great opportunity for him as well. With Clemens Hecker out of the truck and not finishing this race, Bradley's in the perfect place now to gain a lot of points on him. They're tied on 207 points apiece. Bradley's got 2 wins in the Chrome class this season. Clemens Hecker has 6, but Bradley has more podiums. The most top 5s in class is actually by John Newell, funnily enough. He's got 21 top 5s. Nobody else has got more than 17. So John is really an icon of consistency in the championship at the moment. Steffi and Bradley now after swapping places. Here's a look at the move down the inside. Steffi later on the brakes. Bradley says, I'm not picking that fight, thank you. Oh, penalty marker there clipped by Steffi on the right-hand side. And then Stefan Kirsch heading into the corner just behind. It looked like Louis Requenco went in a little bit hot there behind Simon Reed. Where penalty marker warnings come in for 68, Craig Reed, 18, John Newell, Luke Garrett, Bradley Smith, and Stefan Kirsch. So far, as there is the battle between Stefan Kirsch and Simon Reed. Simon ahead of his brother Craig. Craig not having the start to the weekend that he would have wanted. To be fair to Craig, though, one of the most lovely things to hear from the two brothers is that he always tells me how fast Simon is. You know, Simon's really good on the spanners. I mean, they both are. They're fantastic mechanics. But Craig is always telling me how fast his brother is. And it's lovely to see Simon in the championship now. 12th place. Using this as a bit of a taster, maybe, for a future entry into the championship. It'd be lovely to see them competing with us more often. The way their trucks are presented, the way the team are presented, you know, their professionalism is just lovely. And it really blends in with the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. One of the things we really pride ourselves on most is how well presented our whole grid is. And they really do fit in with the fantastic image that they provide. Bit of a dodgy accent being from Stoke-on-Trent, but, you know, you can't have them all. Oh, big hit there from René Reinert onto the back of Mark Taylor. That sends a penalty marker flying. John Newell is sitting back and watching all of this and thinking, flippy, an X Sunshine, calm down a little bit. But René will be obviously pushing as hard as he can after starting so far down the order for this first race. He wants to make up for that. And obviously any position that he gains now will help him in race 2 of the weekend. Especially if he gets ahead of Mark Taylor, actually, because he's chasing him for 8th position. And if he can gain 8th place on the road overall, then obviously that's pole position for race 2. The top 8 get reversed for the 2nd and 4th races of the day, based on races 1 and 3 results. But Mark will be defending that with his life, because right now it's only him and Bradley Smith out of all the Chrome drivers that are on for reverse grid benefits, let's say. We have 7 Titan drivers this season, so it's often that we only get 1 in the top 8 as all. Big send up the inside by René Reinert. Hits the side of Mark Taylor, sends him off the road. That was a huge impact. René overdid it on the brakes. Mark is drifting and drifting and drifting through the gravel. John might say, oh, he's my mate, he is, René. You can't do that. But that was a big, big mistake by René Reinert. Smacked it to the side of Mark Taylor's truck. Oh, he would have felt that one. You could see that Mark straightened up a little bit to try and avoid the contact, and still, this massive smack into the side of him. Not sure if we will get a replay of that one or not, but that was a horrible, horrible bit of contact. René's truck seemingly completely unfazed by it. I think originally that chassis was an ex-Sasha Lens truck, the old Reverse Racing machine, so you know it's built tough anyway. But wow, I feel a replay coming. When the graphics disappear, we know that's what we're going to get. Look, he loses the back end and bang! Brings the whole front end of Mark Taylor's truck off the ground. He hit him that hard. Smacked into it. That's definitely the word for it. It was a real slap of the 2 cabs. That was a horrible, horrible moment, that. Well, hopefully Mark can continue on. It looks like he has. He's triggered the 2nd sector, but now down in 14th place. That's got René Reinert 8th position, but obviously, I think for justice, it would be unfair to see him then sit on pole position for race 2 with an overtaking move like that, but that's just my opinion. It's obviously the FIA and the stewards will do their thing, and they will look at that moment. His rejoin was considered safe, which is nice to hear. As, oh, big send by Mark now down the inside of Luke Garrett into turn 1. Looks like Stefan Kirsch is, and I hate the phrase, a bit of a cork in the bottle here with all these trucks lined up behind him. There's a lot of pressure building behind that number 33. Holds on to a position inside the top 10 as, ooh, it looks like everybody else is a little bit more confident on the brakes. Mark Taylor very wide into the long right-hander there. I think he was trying to go late on the brakes to get past Luke Garrett, who again is another driver he's raced against a lot in the British before. Speaking of, he's got Craig Reed smacking into the side of him now as well. It's an absolute destruction derby between all the British drivers back here. It's like being back at home. These guys are having a real old ding-dong. I don't think Mark knew he was there. Either that or Craig just ran wide into him. It did look like Craig went just a little bit deep. Mark was on the curb at the end of the day. And the 2 of them continue on. I think Mark's right rear wheel arch is a little bit off kilter. You can see... Oh, I hope that's not a puncture on the right rear of Mark's truck, you know. He'll have to forgive me. I get a slightly lowered bit rate in the feed that I get given. So I couldn't quite see if we had a puncture on Mark's truck there. There's the 2 Ivecos of Simon Reed and Louis Requenco chasing down Stefan Kirsch for 10th position. Yeah, it looks like Mark's got a problem. Mark's pulling over to one side. There is definitely damage on that right rear. You could see the way that the wheel was flailing around. And not the start to the weekend that Mark Taylor would have wanted. Bradley Smith, well, he'll never wish it on Mark, of course. He's a good sportsman, is Bradley, but he'll be smiling at that one. I know the team will be. At the end of the day, it's still competition. So the demise of your 2 nearest title contenders in the first race while you're leading the class. Let's not forget, Bradley hasn't had a win in Chrome since Slovakia Ring, which was months ago. He suddenly finds himself leading the class, 7th overall. He's going to be the only driver from Chrome that gets reversed onto the front row of the grid. John Newell and Stefan Kirsch are next up behind him. John Newell isn't far away in the championship either. That'll put him right in the hunt. There is the moment that Mark said no thank you. You can see that right rear wheel look very damaged after that contact with Craig. And he has a puncture on that inside, or the outside tyre, I should say. Simon Reed now still again trying to get past Stefan Kirsch. You can smell the 100% renewable HVO diesel on the back of the truck from there. Gives him a bit of a shove on the exit. He says, come on, son. I know that thing's got some waft in it somewhere. And we're saying, push it, Ode. Looks down the inside. Stefan says, no, thank you. Simon says, well, I'm already here, son. Tries to force the issue down the inside. And he still doesn't have the position. Stefan, fantastic defensive drive here by the Dutchman. Doing everything in his power to keep behind the pesky Ivecos. Great fighting indeed. And this is what we would love to see. It looks like Steffi Halmer's gotten ahead of Antonio Albacete in that last middle sector. Steffi Halm on an absolute mission here from 12th on the grid. She's up to 5th place. Wonderful drive, but getting the better of Antonio Albacete on that previous circulation. Norbert Kiss crosses the line, completes lap 6 out of 11 here in the first race of the weekend at Le Mans on the awesome Bugatti circuit. I'm told we can go down into the pit lane and hear from Lena. Let's see what's up.
Yeah, this trim is no longer looking good. Look at that. It's totally smashed. I mean, this is why the tire is not working as well anymore, isn't it? And like, this truck really got hit by all its corners. Can you tell me quickly, is there a chance to quick fix this? Not really with that rim.
Sorry?
Can you quick fix this? I don't think.
No, that wheel's a problem now, so we're going to retire.
How is Mark doing right now? Is he really angry in there?
It's okay.
Should I speak to him or better not?
No, yeah, speak to him, yeah.
Okay, come on. Let's see how he's doing. As long as the race do, we do this quickly because this really is an exciting race. But we just want to hear from him because I think it's really, really disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, we had a good start off the line, and yeah, Albacete, he come on me inside, he locked up, and I think he's the one who gave me the punch right. Maybe Clemens, they're a bit mixed up a couple of turns on. And to finish me off, Rennie took a dive on me inside and took me clean off the track. As soon as he did that, I put the power down on the truck, and the old truck's vibrating, so there's a big problem with the truck now.
I'm very, very sorry for you because you really had a very nice start out going for front row in the second race, so let's hope you can quick fix it and then come back stronger afterwards. I'm pretty sure the stewards will have a look at it because there was so much going on. I'm pretty sure they will have a look and let us know later on what's going on. Well, Chess, that's the world of racing, isn't it? Very, very shame for Mark Taylor. I'm very sorry for him.
Yeah, difficult stuff for Mark, and I mean, he got hit by, I think, 4 different trucks in that race, bless him. So, yeah, difficult start to his weekend when it comes to races. I'm sure he'll be hoping for a better evening when it comes to race 2 a little bit later on. It'll be after 6 p.m. we have the second race of the weekend. Look at the conditions here, though. It's very different, isn't it? It's sunny from that original shot that we just saw there, but like black clouds in the sky in the background. It's always the way here at Le Mans, similar to Zolder. You know, it's very windy around this part of the world, so it's very often that the weather changes once a lap, so the drivers have to keep their eyes on the skies. But Bradley Smith right now, he's keeping his eyes on the prize with 7th place overall in his sights. He's got Rene Ryan just behind him. Rene looks to the inside, goes for a move, and he's actually managed to get alongside there. Bradley says, no, thank you, mate. I don't really want to fancy this battle right now. But Rene says, you know what, I'm doing it anyway. Round the outside, he goes on the exit, gets the MAN in front. This will put Bradley on reverse grid pole position, though, if he stays in 8th place behind Rene. So he's going to concede that one. That'll put him on pole position, like I say. And he'll be quite safe in that knowledge because John Newell, who is 9th at the moment, will not get any reverse grid benefits whatsoever. So he will stay 9th on the grid for race 2. So if Bradley gets this, he's obviously going to take 20 points in the Chrome class, which will put him to the top of the championship. And John Newell will be, well, he'll be right in the mix. I think he'll be 3 points off the top. He'll go ahead of the likes of Clemens Hecker and Mark Taylor, who are both out of the race. So another sting in the tail for this Chrome Championship this year. It's been an amazing and titanic scrap, ironically, because it's not the Titan class, but it's been awesome to watch the Chrome Championship this year. There's 4 drivers now that could all win it. I mean, mathematically, there's actually 6, because Luke Garrett and Louis Requenco are within the 120-point maximum that you can get for the rest of the season. Here's Sasha Lenz and Jochen Hahn. We almost forgot about these two. They're doing what they did at Zolder, actually, where Sasha out-qualified Jochen, and then over the course of the race, Jochen has gradually reeled him into the later stages. I think Sasha... Oh, penalty marker seems to pop out of the back of Jochen's truck there. I think Sasha might have pushed it a little bit too hard in the opening laps here to try and keep up the pace. And now it seems like Jochen has looked after the truck really well and kept on a consistent run of form. Just looking at the lap times, though, I mean, last time round, Sasha was actually a 10th of a second quicker. Both of them were 3/10 slower than Norby, but Jochen is putting the pressure on now to try and get past Sasha for second place. Stefan Kirsch next. Look at this, with Simon Reed, Louis Requenco, Luke Garrett and Craig Reed all over the back of him. 5 trucks absolutely together, and Stefan Kirsch, he's been like a brick wall of defence throughout this race for 10th position. It's been so much fun to watch. I'll tell you what, Stefan, if he holds on to this 10th place overall, will be over the moon with it. And I think we will be for him as well. What a brilliant drive. We are on the 9th lap of 11 here in the first race. As Luke Garrett now looking down the inside of Louis Requenco. It's all chop and change as to who's going to battle and who's going to overtake when. Great entertainment by these guys. I wonder if it's going to rain anytime soon. You know, that rain seems to be getting closer and closer. Those huge dark clouds. Louis Requenco trying to get down the inside of Simon Reed. That front left body panel has finally come off Simon's truck now. I think it's on the start-finish straight or down near turn 1. But these 5 have been fantastic entertainment so far. Luke Garrett now looking down the inside of Louis Requenco. Louis says, I'm going to call you bluff. I'm going to turn in anyway. Goes down the outside. It sounds like tyres squealing. The 2 of them come out of the corner still together, so clearly not a major issue, although there is a bit of bodywork flapping around now on Luke's truck. I don't recall that being there earlier. Now they head into garage vert once again. Louis a little bit late. Luke having to go wide just in case Louis goes deep into the corner. Bit of a 4-wheeled slide from the Spaniard. And now, oh, hello, Craig. Wow. Wants to be the centre of attention again by the look of it. Swinging the back end of the truck around on the exit. John Newell is having a strangely quiet race, isn't he? He was all on his own there. Normally John loves getting into the scrap and having his elbows out a bit and having a good fight with everyone, but it seems like he's 5 seconds off Bradley Smith, and he's a good 16 seconds ahead of Stefan Kirsch, so nothing to worry about if you're John Newell. We're on to the penultimate lap of the race now, and it's Norbert Kirsch leading the way. Sasha Lenz in second, Jochen Hahn in third, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez still holding on to fourth, another driver that's sort of disappeared into the ether in this one. Steffi Halm fifth, Albacete sixth, Rene Reiner, a great drive from him from 16th on the grid all the way up into 7th. But this is one of the key battles here for some of the biggest point scores on our screens. We've got Jochen Hahn all over the back of Sasha Lenz. These two second and third in the championship last year, second and third in the championship at the moment, and Sasha has had contact. Jochen went down the inside. There was a little bit of a tap on the way in, and Sasha is not third in the championship. I do correct myself. He's fourth behind Steffi Halm. And it looks like Jochen's got it done. He did get ahead, but is he going to let him have that back? Sasha back down the inside. I think that's good sportsmanship from Jochen. He went down the inside, similar to what we saw at Zolder. Sent the move down the inside. He was a little bit hot on the brakes, and he hit Sasha, or sort of forced Sasha off the road, and now he's giving it back. That's lovely stuff from Jochen. It's one thing you can always count on him for. You know, he's very level-headed. We'll have another look at it in just a moment, I believe, as he looks back down the inside now into the left. Sasha says, no, thank you. 9. Cuts across him. Says, there you go. This is a move from Sasha back down the inside then. You can see he made it clear what he wanted to do, and Jochen said, yep, fair play. I'll hold my hands up. Through you go. There's one more lap left in this race. And Norbert Kirsch is preparing to get one hand on the trophy and one hand on a 7th title. Absolutely epic. and it would be his 5th championship in a row. I don't think anybody's ever done 5 titles in a row, have they? Not quite sure if we've had that from Jochen Hahn before. I think he did 2 and then 4 in a similar fashion to how Norby has. I'll have to have a look. But the 2 drivers on screen right now have had contrasting seasons, it's safe to say. Here's a little look back at Simon Reed down the inside of Stefan Kirsch. Whoa, Simon losing it on the way into the corner. Oh, dearie me. A big old moment. Not good at all. No, Jochen never did 5 titles in a row, by the way. He won 11, 12, 13, 16, 18, 19. So Norby put a stop to it, won 2 titles in a row. Then Jochen went on to do 2 more. But either side of that was Adam Lachko. Lachko winning the title in 2017. Well, there is Norby, who is currently on an amazing run of 4 championship titles in a row. He won in 2014 and 2015, I believe it was with Tankpool 24 in the MAN. And now he's back to winning ways in the MAN for the last couple of years with Reveish Racing. We've had incidents under review, as you can expect, from the likes of Simon Reed and Stefan Kirsch. But at the front of the field, we're about to see an epic and more epic drive by Norbert Kirsch as he continues to impress us here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. He rounds the final corner, and with 20 points less now to win this season, he's got one hand on the trophy and a 7th title. Norby takes his 17th win of the year. Fantastic drive. Sasha Lenz crosses the line in 2nd position. Another great result for him and the team. Jochen Hahn joins him in the celebratory drift across the line. Lovely performance as ever by Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He's going to finish ahead of Steffi Halm and Antonio Albacete. Checkered flag being waved. Rene Reinert should be next up in 7th place across the line after them. Albacete didn't really appear to sort of show up much in that one, unfortunately. Not sure if they've got a couple of issues. Bradley Smith takes the win in Chrome. That's his first one since the Slovakia ring. God, he's been waiting a long time for that one. John Newell in 2nd place in Chrome as well. He'll be over the moon with that. And this is the battle for 3rd place in Chrome. This could be Stefan Kirsch's first ever podium in the Chrome class. He makes his way around the final couple of corners. I was just holding my breath there to see if he got the result, and he does. Stefan Kirsch gets a podium in Chrome. Well done, mate. That was a brilliant drive. God, he had to work hard for that. Louis Requenco next up behind, and then Craig Reed is finishing that one in 13th place. Simon Reed will be next up in the number 89 truck. Then Christian Ruppert, and the 2 non-finishers, Clemens Hecker and Mark Taylor, with a non-start for Stefan Faas. Goodness me, what a busy race that was. That was one of the busiest races we've seen all season, that. Absolutely nuts stuff. Still trucks are finishing across the line, but yeah, that Chrome battle was absolutely wonderful, wasn't it? Absolutely wonderful. So much entertainment by all of them. Christian Ruppert there across the line. And again, I mentioned the Chrome result there. Wonderful for Bradley Smith to take that one. He wins it from John Newell and Stefan Kirsch. Louis Requenco next up. Luke Garrett, Craig Reed, Simon Reed and Christian Ruppert. And again, non-finishes for Clemens Hecker and Mark Taylor. And unfortunately, a non-start for Stefan Faas. Norbert Kirsch, though, moves now 85 points clear at the top of the title. And at present, there are 100 points left to win this season. We have 60 as a maximum for a race weekend. 20 for races 1 and 3, and then another 10 apiece for races 2 and 4. Bradley Smith back on top in Chrome. That puts him to the top of the championship now in Chrome. He is now 8 points clear of Mark Taylor. John Newell is then only 5 points back, and then only 7 points back is Clemens Hecker. Incredible. The four of them still separated by just 20 points as well, which is the separation that we had coming here to Le Mans. But an important round that for Norbert Kirsch, and he is very, very close now to the championship title. Jochen Hahn with another podium finish, now behind Sascha Lenz in that race. Sascha now moves into third in the championship as well, 1 point clear of Steffi Halm. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in fourth place, another strong set of points for him. Steffi and Rene, by the way, great drives from both of them. Antonio didn't seem to get going in that one. We'll hopefully see more from him later on this evening. Bradley Smith takes a win in Chrome ahead of John Newell, and Stefan Kirsch, I think that's his first overall top 10 as well as his top, that's his top Chrome result and his first ever top 10 overall. Brilliant stuff. Louis Requenco 11th ahead of Luke Garrett in 12th. Then it's Craig and Simon Reed in 13th and 14th after a busy race for both. Christian Ruppert finishes in 15th place overall, with the likes of Mark Taylor and Clemens Hecker not finishing, and of course a non-start for Stefan Faas. Well, we can breathe now. That was a very busy race to get us started, but as I've always said, this is one of the best races to have over the season. Janine there just guiding Sasha's truck into the paddock. The door will luckily hang over the side of Norby's truck. There's Marco in the background. And what a relief that is for Bradley Smith. Back on top. He's only had 2 podiums. Actually, let's have a look. Yeah, since the Nürburgring, Bradley's only had 3 podiums at all in Chrome. He's had a second and 2 thirds. Second at the Nürburgring in the final race. Most 2 third places. John sort of saying, what? At that one. Sascha Lenz, very, very pleased. Celebrates with his team. Great second place for him. Very, very well done to Sascha. A lot of hard work paying off, and he now moves into third in the championship. Let's go and get the reactions down there from Lena, shall we?
And of course of Sascha, who really has been fighting all race through. Also last laps against Jochen. I think Jochen really did a nice friendly stuff in between when they were like taking over each other. Very good race. How happy are you?
Yeah, I'm really, really happy. Yeah, it was a good race, but the last 2-3 laps, Jochen was a little bit quicker there, so we need a little bit to change the setup for the next race, and we're more constant for the completely race.
Yeah, but you can be happy, and you have a trophy to pick up there. It's a really lovely podium. You will see now Jochen also. Really good job. Of course, he wants to congratulate his German mates. They have been knowing each other for such a long time. So really, really good job from the two of you. You were really nice to him. There was so much damage going on in the rear, people closing up, and you were like, come on, go by again.
No, we have a fantastic race, and I have an overtaking move, but I'm too late. And I have the contact, that's why I say I give him back and I try it again, but it's the last lap, and second, third, from the first position we must not speak. So.
And let's speak about points in the championship. I was calculating quickly. Of course, Norbert now has more points, but you can win one more race and then it's still again in between.
No, forget the points. He's the champion in this year. Everybody accept it. Okay. But we don't stop to mean zum Ärgern. I don't know in English. We must
to make him to tingle him a little bit.
Something, and we look in the point. You know, when we win the next race, perfect. In Jarama, we look again the championship. What can we do?
Exactly, and you're still collecting trophies, which is really, really nice. And everyone sees how great of a driver you are. And if there was a Norbert, but he is there, you would be still the steady winner.
I think we must make a championship for the second place. Then he's a loser. You know, I'm 6 times a vice-champion.
Okay, so well, that's also big numbers. I mean, the others are behind, so still being the vice also is a lot. Of course, we want to hear from Norbert very quickly. More points in the bucket. So, how confident are you about the next race? And are you more excited now about the next race, or are you more the cool type?
You know, it's a very good result. You know, obviously the win is very important. Very good job from Rayways Racing. So big thank you to the guys, because it's working very well this weekend as well. And yeah, you know, we will see what we do in the reverse grid race. You know, like always, if we see some opportunities, for sure we will try to overtake. But you know, we don't have to take so much risk anymore. So I'm I hope it will be fine.
Okay, you can tell he's already relaxed, and I really think you can be relaxed. Did you bring any Hungarian drinks, something to maybe celebrate later on?
Yes, sure. We have the full selection, so.
All right. Okay.
Sunday night, hopefully party.
All right, you heard him, but for now, of course, we have the podium for the first race of this weekend. There's 3 more races to come, and for everyone who might have missed something, here are the highlights of the first race.
Thank you very much, Lena. Fantastic first race of the weekend, that one. And yeah, I know the drink that Norby's on about. It's called Palinka. And if anybody ever offers you any, run far, far away. Norbert Kish started on the front row then with Sasha Lenz alongside him. Sasha continuing on this great form in qualifying and getting back onto the front row. There was a lot of drama in the middle of the pack. Clemens Hecker and Mark Taylor having contact. Clemens would be off the road and out of the race before the first lap was even completed. Mark would develop a puncture from later contact as well with Rene Reinert and Craig Reed. Seemed like at that point Mark's truck was already in trouble. Actually, now we see it back, you can see the right rear puncture. That definitely didn't help though from Rene Reinert on his way up the order into 7th place in the end. But the Reeds and Louis Requenco and Luke Garrett were in a fantastic fight trying to get past Stefan Kirsch, who would soon go on to take his first ever podium in the Chrome category and his first overall championship point as well. Penalty markers were not just knocked over, but split in half by the action over the course of the 11 laps. Lovely sportsmanship on show by Jochen Hahn as he allowed Sasha Lenz back through with just moments to go. Simon Reed had this moment that unfortunately knocked him down a few places, but luckily for Stefan Kirsch, kept him in 10th place overall. But Norbert Kish takes another 20 points with his 16th race win of the year. Sasha Lenz in 2nd, Jochen Hahn in 3rd. Bradley Smith also taking his first Chrome win in 4 race meetings. Just trying to find the date on which Bradley would have taken his last victory in Chrome, actually. It was, well, his last one was the first race of the weekend back at the Slovakia ring, which was on the 8th of June. Sorry, the 7th of June. That was the last time Bradley won in Chrome. Jochen Hahn heads up to the podium. 3rd place for him and another trophy. Sasha Lenz up there also with 2nd place. As you can see, we have the lovely 24-hour of Le Mans podium for them to walk out to. It's one of the coolest podiums we get to all year. Norbert Kish heads up onto the top step. And the guys have their trophies with them. And we should have the national anthem of Hungary for Norbert Kish. Although I believe, no, the trophies, despite them already being on the steps, are going to be handed to them by our podium presenters. We have Javier Frépon, who is the Vice President of the commercial MEAA region of Goodyear, handing the trophy to Jochen Hahn, and then to Sasha Lenz as well. Gives great compliments to each of the drivers. Nice of him to have a good word with them as well and present them with their trophies. And Kish raises the trophy high after another race victory. And now we will hear the Hungarian national anthem. And I think Norby and a lot of the Hungarian fans will be much happier with that one, with them actually playing more than 10 seconds of the national anthem like we've had at a couple of circuits over this year. In Belgium, it was like they wanted to play one note and get it over and done with. But the top 3 drivers who have, for the last few years, been the top 3 in the championship, now actually reunited in those positions, because for a long time, Steffi Halm was 3rd in the championship. With this, Sasha now moves 1 point ahead, but he's the only Titan driver this year not to win a race outright. We are yet to have a Chrome driver win a race outright this season. And unfortunately for Sasha, he is the only one that hasn't stood on that very top step to claim a trophy. He's had seconds and thirds, though. He's had a good run of podiums, actually, throughout the campaign. And now it's time for champagne. Not forgetting, though, that it may be late in the day here, but we still have another race left to come later this afternoon. The next race broadcast for local UK time will be at 5:15 and 6:15, of course, in France. This is the championship standings then, and a chance for me to make sure I've got my maths right. Norbert Kish is top of the pile now, 339 points, 85 clear of Jochen Hahn. Sascha Lenz then just 1 point ahead of Steffi Halm. Antonio Albacete only 1 point ahead of René Reinert now. Those two are close as ever, with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in 7th. It's the first year in a while, though, that we've seen such a divide between the Chrome Championship and the Titans in the overall standings. 135 points for Jose Eduardo, just 49 for Mark Taylor. But this is the interesting thing, you see. Clemens Hecker is ahead of Bradley Smith in the Drivers' Championship outright, but Bradley is actually 20 ahead in Chrome. Lucas Hahn still in 11th ahead of John Newell, with Stefan Faas and Louis Requenco. Then it's Luke Garrett, Jonathan Andre, and Stefan Kirsch gets his first ever overall championship point in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And there's some more trophies for our Chrome winners. Very fittingly finished in lovely chrome shine. 3rd place goes to Stefan Kirsch. I tell you, he may not be the most fluent in English on the grid, but he's certainly one of the finest drivers in category and a hard worker for it. John Newell's on a great run of form as well in Chrome. He now moves into 3rd place in the championship. I don't want to get him and Rafi's hopes up. But John only 13 points off of this man, Bradley Smith, with a big smile on his face. He really wasn't very well last week at Zolder. And now, with this win, the first win since June in the Chrome class, he moves back, not just to the top step of that podium, but also the top step of the Chrome Championship. There's Davide Califano from Goodyear. He'll be handing each of our podium finishers their trophies. Seemingly not the trophies that I was thinking of. Stefan Kirsch, that one means a lot to him. They've been working really hard behind the scenes, this team. He missed a couple of rounds earlier in the season due to a hand injury. Now he finds himself on the podium here at Le Mans. How cool is that? John Newell in 2nd place in class. Another trophy for him and the team to take home back to the UK. And Bradley Smith, well, what can you say? He's had a great burst onto the scene in this category. He took 1st, 2nd and 3rd at Lausitz Ring and Slovakia Ring, and since then has not been on the top step. Now we'll get the Great British National Anthem. And there we go, the national anthem for Bradley Smith, taking the first Chrome victory of the weekend here at Le Mans. And I know all 3 of those drivers will be very happy with that result. Stefan getting his first Chrome podium. John starting a more consistent run of podiums now into the second half of the season. And Bradley, a return to form for him after only having 3 podiums in the last 12 races. Unfortunately, nobody close enough to the podium to get drenched by that champagne, but I know that Stefan will want to put a cork in that one and go and enjoy that later on tonight with the team. It's better than Palinka anyway. And then the guys will now make their way off the podium, and we will have a look at the Chrome Championship standings. So look at this. Bradley Smith back to the top. That's put a smile back on his face. Mark Taylor in 2nd place, only 8 points back, and then 13 back in total. John Newell, Clemens Hecker on 207, and then it's not even a massive gap really back to Louis Requenco and Luke Garrett either. Stefan Faas is in 7th place, Jonathan Andre is 8th ahead of Lucas Hahn and Christian Ruppert, who is now inside the top 10 with 57 points. Stefan Kirsch on 55 ahead of Martin Matzik. Craig and Simon Reed get their first points of the season. with their first races of the campaign. Great to have them back on the grid, though, from Reed Truck Sport. I don't know how we're quite possibly going to top that with another race. That was an absolute barnstormer to start the weekend, but we've still got 3 more left to come. And I'm going to say goodbye for now. We'll head back down to Lena for some final words.
Yeah, actually, I'm hoping to quickly be speaking to Stefan Kusch. Stefan! Okay, he's so much with his fans celebrating. John, so we have to do the final words for the next race. Actually, you really did a good job as well. Collected points up in the championship. 4th place to 2nd, I guess it is now.
Yeah,
so we can watch out for the next race to come today, no?
Yeah, definitely. It's bad qualifying. We were P3 overall, but we made a mistake at track limits. So we started 14th, got a good start, picked his way through, well happy.
And you had quite kind of your own race today. You were like in the middle of everything, but there was nothing going on. But like, I hope for a little more excitement for you in the next race.
Yeah, definitely. I sure am.
All right. So 6:15 it is. Set your alarm bell. Have a quick refreshing drink. And oh, there he is. Come on, quickly over. So good. Yes, I will translate for the audience. Du hast einen super Job gemacht. I will translate to you for in a second. Und du bist ja nicht viele Rennen mit dabei, aber wenn du da bist, kommst du immer sehr stark. Willst du mal eine komplette Meisterschaft?
Ja, das war dieses Jahr mein Traum. Ich bin am Anfang vom Jahr halt krank geworden, ne? Sonst wäre ich dieses Jahr die komplette Saison dabei. Aber wir hatten in Zoller so viel Pech und das hier ist einfach nur geil.
Okay, he's really excited about it. I just told him because he has not been doing all the races, but every time he's around in races, he comes in very strongly, and there are others who do all the races and they're still struggling. So I really cross my fingers for you. Ich drücke dir wirklich die Daumen, dass du es schaffst, nächstes Jahr komplett mit dabei zu sein.
Danke, danke, danke.
Yeah, he says thank you, and I think we will see you. Where are you starting out now in reverse crit?
Ja, jetzt, wir gucken, wenn wir dasselbe wieder einfahren können, wäre doch mega.
Okay, so he's of course aiming for another podium in the second race. 6:15 it is. See you in a bit. And there he is, Norbert Kisch. Here, look, he's already, yeah.